So good afternoon everybody. Myself Acharya Vishvendra. I was just discussing about the fundamental source of information, in which we had discussed that the fundamental source of information is nature itself. In nature there are certain patterns, and any scientist just observe that pattern, verify that pattern, and develop a certain sort of empirical formula for that pattern. This is what a scientist do. When these empirical formulas are made, they are subjected to seminars, discussions, debates, and finally if it crosses that stage, it is being patented so that it can become a law and can be applied globally. So this is the process of how laws are being implemented and are being found. So there is a process, there is a step, there is a verification involved in giving certain empirical formulas. For example, if Newton gave the law of gravity as f is equals to g m1 m2 by r square, then it's not that Newton said so people would believe him that force is this. People will ask him questions from where he came to know such information. What are the source of experiments? What are the experimental data? From where he got that information? How it is verified? People will ask open-ended questions to him. And obviously he was able to answer all of the question. He was able to satisfy curiosity of the people. That's why it was being made the law of gravitation as proposed by Sir Isaac Newton. So it's not that you talk any rubbish thing and people will believe it out. You will have to give proof of what you are doing. So that is why driving a law is not a cup of tea for everybody. There are harsh criticisms, and you can survive only if you are based on truth rather than a belief system or just trying to impress others. So that's why where the role of authenticity and truth comes into play. So one thing is clear to us, that laws which are given in books are an outcome of years of experience, year of experimentations, criticism, debates, seminars, and then something is made into the law. Now the task of the teacher or the author is not to verify or propose or making some law. That's a different thing. The task of the author or the teacher is to make familiar with the laws without any invention from himself. An author is not authorized to make comments on the law derived by a scientist. It will be foolish to ask a teacher, if a teacher asks a scientist for the proof, because proofs are obtained by years of experiments. You cannot prove anything without doing experiments. It takes time, patience, energy, money, many things. Only then you can decode certain laws of nature. So the first thing is that author or teacher is not the creator of the law. He is just you can say the source of information, that standard laws are these, and these are proposed by the scientist, not by any person or by any general person. So that is the very fundamental concept that differentiates between an author, a teacher, and a scientist. And obviously the information that you gather from a scientist is the most fundamental. Author or teacher, if they are themselves not the scientist, it is also possible that scientists may be authors and may be the teachers, but if they are not scientists, then they are not the most credible source of information. So I just want you to know the actual process of learning rather than believing anybody. So that's why I have compiled this book. Now let's proceed further. So when I was discussing, I was solving questions I used to think that what is fundamental source of information and who made the laws, why things work in a particular pattern, why there are foundations and limitations. But when you solve a question, then these things are not going to work. I tried different patterns, I consulted my friends, teacher, relatives, but everybody had their own story and I got more confused. Soon I realized that asking question is very easy, but finding answers is very tough. When I found no solution to my problems, then I decided to find myself how to solve questions by experiments rather than working off somebody's suggestions. I observed my friends who were able to solve questions and tried to find why they are able to solve questions and not me. I compared their working with mine. I tried to find which books they are using, which questions they are solving. I bought the books but still no solution. I also observed my teachers, why they are able to solve questions and not me. I found that most of teachers are able to solve most of the questions from the book that they have. This is very important. So let's conclude the thing. So from a discussion till now, as I said that I was very busy in contemplating the processes executed by my mind-built system while I solve a particular question. And I just got a decent rank in JEE Main or AIEEE, and I was able to get a seat in the government engineering college, Pantnagar, Uttarakhand, which was very limited to what I have done. But still, it fetched me a certain position in which I can hope for further good career options. Now, to conclude in a nutshell, there are three fundamental dimensions of concern while preparing for any competitive exam. These are information, process, or energy, emotion, and mental power. Generally, teachers, coaching institutions, schools, they just talk about information. They just talk about derivations, question answer sessions, and all that. But very few pay attention to the process and to the energy, emotion, or the mental powers needed to process that information. So I choose to work explicitly on the process and the energy, emotion, or the mental powers concerned with while solving questions and while preparing for competitive exam. So this book is all about that. So now let's discuss the prologue of the book. So the prologue is that the universe is following quantized rules. Success and failures are concerned with decoding these rules. As you might be knowing that quantization occurs at the macroscopic, atomic and nuclear level also. So this book is elaboration of decoded rules for cracking competitive exams. I have done experiments on myself. I have worked with thousands of students, teachers and fellow members, and using certain algorithms, practicing, experimenting and analyzing things, I have decoded certain rules. And using those rules, I have cracked JEE or AIEEE, and I got admission in Government Engineering College, Pantnagar, Uttarakhand, which is second best after IIT Roorkee. I completed my information technology and I got a decent job as a JEE and NEET faculty in Coaching Institute of Delhi and KOTA itself. And I have worked with thousands of students in Delhi and KOTA. So this is the basis behind my book. I hope this book will prove to be a boon to your career and it will help you to fetch exploring opportunities for future and ecstatic life. Thank you. Have a nice day.